This is 4 days of vegan meal prep, and every single day contains 120 grams of plant protein, 1,800 calories, and meets all of your nutritional needs without supplementation or protein powder. Omega-3s, iodine, vitamin B12, iron, everything your body needs to be a healthy and fit vegan. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make it. If you wanna download these recipes, a full nutrition breakdown, and a grocery list, just click the link in the description. All right, let's jump in. So for this meal prep, we're focusing on a few key things. The first is that we're maintaining a daily protein intake of 120 grams. So maintaining a high protein target when you're working to burn body fat is especially important because it helps you to maintain lean muscle mass and also helps you to feel more satiated so you're not feeling hungry during the day. The second thing that we're focusing on is getting in all of our micronutrients, so our vitamins and minerals, without supplements or protein powder. And third, for this meal prep, we're focusing on a daily calorie target of 1,800 calories. Now for me, 1,800 calories puts me into a pretty significant caloric deficit, meaning that this meal plan would be really good for me to burn body fat. However, given your body composition and fitness goals, your calorie needs might be different than mine, so it's important that you understand what that calorie target should be. If you need some help figuring out your calorie target, we actually have a vegan nutrition calculator on our website. You can just head to thevegangym.com and click on the nutrition calculator. All right, so those are the three things that we're gonna be focusing on. We are making a 4-day meal prep. Let's jump in. So for this meal prep, we're gonna be making 3 main meals and 2 snacks for every day. Now, I would normally just dive in and start making breakfast, but for this, we actually have some ingredients that are gonna take longer to cook. So we're gonna do this a little bit out of order. I've got some sweet potatoes here and also some brown rice. These are gonna be for our lunches. This is gonna be for our dinner. We're gonna get these started ahead of time before we dive in and start making breakfast, so we can just be as efficient in the kitchen as possible. First, we'll start with the sweet potatoes for our lunches. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 205 degrees Celsius. Grab 4 sweet potatoes and pierce them each with a fork multiple times. This will allow steam to escape as they cook so they don't burst. While the oven is preheating, we'll start the rice for dinner. Measure out enough dry brown rice to yield 3 cups cooked. If you aren't sure exactly how much you need, it's always okay to make a little bit extra so you have more on hand for later use. I found that using a 1-to-2 ratio of brown rice to water in a rice cooker always works best. You can also cook your rice on the stove. So generally speaking, brown rice is more nutritious than white rice. It has some added nutrition such as magnesium. It also has fiber where white rice really doesn't. But in the grand scheme of things, the difference in nutrition isn't that big. So if you much prefer white rice like I do, it's perfectly okay to cook with it. Once the oven is preheated, place the sweet potatoes on a pan and place them in the oven. We will be adding 2 more sheet pans for the next part of our prep, so be sure to leave some room in the oven. Sweet potatoes generally take about 45 minutes to an hour to cook depending on their size, so while we're waiting, let's start making the rest of our dinner. All right, so now we've got the potatoes and brown rice started, and I was going to jump right into breakfast and start making that, but it's actually a pretty fast meal to prepare, so I'm gonna jump in and make dinner, or at least get it started, and that's because dinner takes the longest, and I just wanna be as efficient as possible and spend as little time in the kitchen as possible for this meal prep. So for dinner, to pair with the rice, we're gonna be making some crispy tofu with veggies. All right, so this dinner is gonna be a sheet pan meal, meaning we're just gonna chop everything up, mix it together, throw on the sheet, and put it in the oven. It's super simple, and that's how I like my meals. First, grab a large bowl to make the sauce that will flavor the tofu. Add in half a cup or 144 grams of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons or 15 grams of rice vinegar, 2 teaspoons or 6.5 grams of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons or about 5 grams of chili powder, 3 tablespoons or 24 grams of nutritional yeast, and then whisk everything together. So normally people would add some oil to a sauce like this or coat it on a tray before they put something in the oven. I don't like doing that because oil is so loaded with calories and it really doesn't add any nutrients, especially for the high number of calories. So we're going to omit that. I've got my sauce ready to go. I'm going to be using some parchment paper down on this baking sheet so I don't have to worry about things sticking, which is usually what people would use oil for. Next, grab 2 blocks of firm or extra firm tofu and crumble them into the bowl with your hands. So generally when I'm crumbling tofu, I'll just honestly kind of like squeeze it through my hands, which maybe sounds a little gross, but it's actually really effective. I'll use that for tofu scrambles or really anything where I need to crumble some tofu. And as a side note, when you're looking for tofu in the grocery store, you can check out the nutrition facts and look for tofu that has additional calcium. So it's fortified with calcium, and that can help you to meet your calcium needs every day. Mix the sauce and tofu until everything is evenly coated. Then, on a parchment paper lined baking sheet, add the tofu and spread it out evenly. For the veggies, we'll start by chopping 2 heads of broccoli into florets and cutting 2 bell peppers into slivers. The vitamin C in the broccoli and bell peppers will help your body to absorb more iron from the brown rice and tofu in this meal. For this reason, it's always a great idea to pair high vitamin C foods with high iron foods. Next, toss the veggies in the same bowl the tofu is in to soak up any remaining sauce and add them to the second sheet pan. So you could just take the veggies and sprinkle them over the tofu, but I like my tofu to be a little crispier. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and make another pan to separate them so the tofu can cook a little bit more thoroughly. So I had a little bit of remaining sauce in this bowl, but if you don't have any remaining sauce after you mix up the tofu, I would recommend making just a little bit extra to coat the veggies, just to make sure that they have some extra flavor and to make sure that they just cook well. All right, so at this point, we want to put the veggies and tofu in the oven, but I actually just realized that we only have 2 racks here, and the potatoes are taking up one of the racks. So I am going to take this out and I'm going to move the veggies off to the side and put the potatoes on the same rack. So as you're cooking, just be mindful of your rack space in the oven. All right, so while the sweet potatoes, tofu, and veggies are cooking, I'm going to get started with breakfast, which is carrot cake overnight oats. Start by lining up 4 containers and adding half a cup or 40 grams of oats to each one. For omega-3 fatty acids, add in 1 tablespoon or 10 grams of chia seeds and 2 tablespoons or 20 grams of hemp seeds. Next, grate up a carrot so you have about 8 tablespoons or 64 grams total. So not only are carrots super delicious, they're also really nutritious, and carrots are packed with carotenoids, which are powerful antioxidants that can help you to reduce inflammation and also prevent disease. Add 2 tablespoons or 16 grams of carrots to each container. To add flavor and sweetness, we'll add in half a teaspoon or about 1 gram of cinnamon, a quarter teaspoon or about half a gram of ground ginger, a half teaspoon or about 2 grams of vanilla extract, and 1 tablespoon or 20 grams of maple syrup. Finally, add in 2/3 of a cup or 162 grams of unsweetened plain or vanilla soy milk. All right, so that's it for the overnight oats. I'm just gonna mix these up and then put the lids on, and then they're ready to go in the fridge. So every morning when you're getting ready to have your overnight oats, just take a quarter cup of this Kite Hill Greek style plant-based yogurt that's absolutely packed with protein. Put that on top, and then you can also add some shaved carrots for a nice garnish. All right, so included in the breakfast is a banana every morning, but if you decide that you would prefer to have the banana as a snack and have a little bit of a smaller breakfast, then you can totally do that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and I like a little bit of a larger breakfast, so I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 banana to each oatmeal. All right, so now that we've meal prepped our breakfast, we're gonna go ahead and finish our lunch. Now that our sweet potatoes are done cooking, we just need to make the filling for our loaded taco sweet potatoes. So our main protein source for this meal is gonna be seitan, which is basically just pure protein. It's actually the protein that is found in wheat. I'm just gonna crumble this with my hands, but you can go ahead and slice it or chop it up however you want. First, chop up 1 onion or about 200 grams and add that to a pan over medium heat. Add 2 cloves or about 6 grams of minced garlic and cook that for a few minutes. Next, add 16 ounces or about 450 grams of seitan, which is about 2 packs depending on the brand, and 1 tablespoon or 9 grams of taco seasoning. Mix it all up and cook for a few minutes until everything is heated through. While that's finishing, start preparing your veggies. Dice up 1 tomato, 1 cup of lettuce, 1 bunch of green onions, and a small bunch of cilantro. Then quarter 1 lime and drain and rinse 1 can of black beans. Once the sweet potatoes are cooked through, take them out of the oven, split them open, and add 1 to each container. Then divide the seitan, onion, and garlic mixture evenly across each potato. Add a quarter cup or 60 grams of black beans, and then top with a quarter cup or 9 grams of lettuce, a quarter cup or 45 grams of fresh tomatoes, 1 to 2 tablespoons or 1 to 2 grams of fresh chopped cilantro, and a quarter cup or 65 grams of salsa. Lastly, add a squeeze of fresh lime. Now our sweet potatoes are loaded and ready to go, so the lunches are done. Now let's finish up dinner. So thankfully, we've been preparing all of our meal prep really efficiently today, so we actually have everything ready to go for dinner. All we need to do is get it into the containers. Across your 4 containers, add 3/4 cup or about 150 grams of cooked brown rice, and then add your veggies and tofu. All right, so just out of curiosity, I'm gonna weigh the red bell peppers and the broccoli just to see what the total weight is, and then I will divide it by 4 for each of the containers. I'm also gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the tofu crumbles. All right, so the total weight of the tofu crumbles is 575 grams. Now, we used firm tofu. If you use extra firm tofu, then it's gonna have slightly less water content, and that will change the calculations a little bit. So what I like to do is just go ahead, weigh it all out, and then I'll divide by 4. I also made this tofu a little bit extra crispy, and you don't need to keep it in the oven as long. And if you don't cook it as long, you're not gonna be taking out as much water, which means that your ending weight will probably be a little bit higher. All right, so we just have 2 final things to add, a little bit of green onions for garnish. And we're also going to be adding some dulse flakes as well. So the reason that we're adding dulse flakes, which is a type of seaweed, is because it's very high in iodine. So it's a great way to help us meet all of our micronutrient intakes for the day. The one thing about dulse that I will say is that it has a little bit of a fishy taste because obviously it's directly from the ocean. So if that's not really a flavor that you enjoy, then you can just skip out on this and just be sure that you're getting iodine from iodized salt or some other iodine supplement source. So to meet my recommended daily intake of iodine every day, I need to be consuming about half a teaspoon of dulse flakes. Again, it has a very strong flavor, so if that's not a flavor that you like, well, first of all, I would suggest that you taste test it before you pour it all over your dinner. But if that's not a flavor you like, again, you can just use iodized salt or you can use a different supplement. All right, now we finished all of our main meals. Let's jump in and do the snacks. All right, we got my main man, Mr. Pumpkin over here. Helps me out with cooking every once in a while. And for our snacks, we're gonna be keeping things really simple. We've got almonds and edamame. So this edamame is actually not cooked, but you can easily get pre-cooked edamame in a bag and just steam it in the microwave to heat it up. We're gonna go ahead and cook this, but you also have some options with almonds as well. I've got some unroasted and unsalted almonds here, but if you prefer, which I do as well, we've got some dry roasted almonds, which are salted. And he's playing with the dulse over there. He's, well, you smell some fishy taste in there? Think Mr. Pumpkin likes dulse. likes some iodine. All right, we'll give you some of that later. Or we'll just play hockey with it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, cook this up, and then portion it all out. For our snacks, we're gonna keep it super simple with 1 ounce or 30 grams of almonds and 1 cup or 100 grams of edamame pods. Start by cooking or heating up the edamame according to the package instructions. While waiting, start portioning out the almonds. It's really important to keep in mind that the nutrition facts on the back of the package are going to be based on the gram number, not the cup number or any other kind of measurement, whether it's tablespoons, cups, anything like that. It's going to be based on grams. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 120 grams, so 30 grams every day for a 4-day meal prep. All right, so we're putting all this in a single container to just keep it easy with meal prep. You can divide this up into 4 to put in separate baggies if you want, or tiny little containers. You could also just grab it out of the bag every single day, but as we just saw, a 1/4 cup is more than 30 grams. And for foods that have a high calorie density, meaning lots of calories in a relatively small volume, like nuts and seeds, it's really important that we're being accurate with how much we're actually consuming. So I'm gonna go ahead and count these almonds to let you know how many almonds should be in 30 grams. All right, so I just counted all of that up and there were 125 almonds in 120 grams. So it's safe to say it's about 1 almond per gram. So when you're looking at a 30-gram serving size of almonds, you can just guess it's about 30 almonds. So what you can do is just grab out 30 almonds from a bag every single day as part of your snack, or you can go ahead and just put in 4 days of meal prep in a single container and then do the same thing. Just count out 30 almonds every single day. All right, the edamame is done cooking, and for this, I decided to put all of it in a single container as well. You can go ahead and do the same or break it up into 4 separate containers for meal prep, but same thing, just like the almonds, what you would do is just take out a 1/4 per day, and that would be your snack. Now, I'm gonna be adding some salt, and you can use any kind of salt that you want or no salt at all, but you can use iodized salt if you would like to add in iodine, especially if you decide to omit the dulse flakes from our dinner. All right, now that's it for our snacks. We've done all of the meal prep. Let's dive into a nutrition breakdown. All right, so for this meal prep, we're sitting right around 1,800 calories, and we got in over 125 grams of plant protein, and we got 48 grams of fiber, which is really high, and that's really great for our digestion and our health. And when people are focusing on losing weight, they typically just focus on calories, but actually protein and fiber are really important considerations as well. So without any protein powder, we exceeded our protein target, and we also got in all of our individual essential amino acids. We surpassed 100% for all of them. So as you can see, we've hit all of our vitamin targets. Vitamin D is the only vitamin that you really need to get through supplements or fortified foods or just getting out in the sun. That's why vitamin D is called the sunshine vitamin. You need to get out and expose your arms and legs for about 15 to 30 minutes. 15 if you have lighter skin and 30 if you have darker skin. For our vitamin B12, we met all of our needs just by using some nutritional yeast. So as you can see, this Red Star nutritional yeast, which is fortified with vitamin B12, that's an important thing to note. If you're getting your B12 from some kind of fortified food, make sure that it actually contains enough B12 to meet your needs. But this one certainly does for us. And getting enough B12 is an important consideration for both vegans and non-vegans alike. We've also exceeded all of our mineral targets, and one important thing that I'd like to note is iron. Lots of people think that vegans don't get enough iron, but as you can see here, I almost surpassed my entire needed daily intake of iron in breakfast alone. Oats, chia seeds, soy milk, and hemp seeds are all good sources of iron. As you can see here, we got a ton of calcium from tofu, which is exactly why I mentioned looking for a calcium fortified tofu option earlier. When it comes to building a meal plan, it's a really great practice to include at least one serving of a cruciferous vegetable like broccoli in our diet every single day. That's because it's a great source of vitamin K. As you can see here, just a single cup of broccoli helps us to meet our vitamin K needs. But I'd really recommend that you cook it on the stovetop with some oil-free sauce and garlic, or just steam it with water instead of air frying it. Please note that the recommended daily intakes of these vitamins and minerals is based on my body composition. I'm a pretty athletic guy and I weigh about 190 pounds. If you want to learn how many calories and grams of protein you need based on your body composition and fitness goals, then you can use our vegan nutrition calculator. In just a few minutes, this calculator will tell you how many calories, grams of protein, and some other nutrients you need to be consuming to be healthy and fit and also accomplish your fitness goals. You can get free access to this calculator by heading to our website, thevegangym.com, and clicking on calculator, or you can also click the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then I know you'll love our free plant-based nutrition course, The Plant Powered Body. In this comprehensive course, I'll teach you exactly what you need to eat to burn body fat, build lean muscle, balance your hormones, improve your gut health, and much more. Just click the link in the description to get instant access. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next video.